You just got the promotion. You're more visible than ever. You're attending conferences, getting on stages, leading your own team, and then you open your closet at 6:45 in the morning and you see clothes that belong to you from 3 promotions ago. And you already know that whatever you put on is not going to make you feel like the woman who worked so hard to get to this level. It's not going to reflect your growth, and it's definitely not going to make it obvious that you're the one in charge. This is your sign that when you step into the next stage of your career, you also need to redefine your style and your image. But don't worry, in this video I'm going to walk you through exactly how to find your style when you reach the next level of your career. Hi, my name is Basia Richard, and I am a former celebrity stylist turned personal stylist, and for the past 15 years I've helped executives, directors, CEOs, and successful entrepreneurs walk into any room and immediately look like the woman in charge. And to help you get started, I created a free guide that shows you how to build a polished and put together work wardrobe without defaulting to the usual black dresses and gray skirts. I'm gonna link it in the description below. So without further ado, let's get started. I work with a lot of successful leaders, C-suite women and entrepreneurs, and every time I open their closet, I see something very similar. Most of the time, the wardrobe belongs to a younger version of who they've become. And don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing technically wrong with the clothes. They basically have no personality. They look boring. They look generic. It's that sad corner of the department store labeled professional. The usual suspects. So black suits, gray dresses, navy skirts. And in those closets, I rarely find personality. I rarely find color, texture, details, clothes that feel, alive. Clothes that match the level of the accomplished women standing in front of me. Now, this is very important. If this is happening to you, it does not mean that you don't have style. It does not mean that you don't understand image. It simply means that you haven't discovered it yet in a precise way. You're not able to clearly define and verbalize what it actually looks like for you. And that's the missing piece. You need specific steps and a clear strategy to identify your image and the exact aesthetics behind it. Because, that is the only way that you can build a wardrobe intentionally. That is the only way that you can shop for key pieces that not only make you feel confident, but also make you stand out when you walk into important rooms. So, in order to start developing your brand and your image and your style, we have to approach this in a 3-step process. First, we're going to look at different styles just to get visual references of different aesthetics and see which ones you naturally identify with the most. Then, we are going to break it down even further and look at specific fashion elements that belong to those styles and figure out which details you actually connect with. And lastly, we're going to look at silhouettes, the types of clothing you generally love to wear or feel best in, and we're going to identify those as well. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it. We're going to get very detailed because we are building your image, your brand, and this is important. You don't want to build something that's copyable. You want an image that is very specific and clearly identifiable as you. So first, let's look at a few different styles, okay? So there are many styles in fashion, but some of the core ones are classic, there's preppy, there's romantic, rocker, casual, corporate, and business casual, just to name a few. What we want to do is to look at these styles visually and ask yourself, which ones do I naturally identify with? Now, here's the important part. You're not trying to force yourself into, like, I would say, one specific style, you're not picking a label and boxing yourself in. You're simply observing. Do I like this more than the other one? If yes, why do I like it? Do I see myself wearing some of those clothes, these colors, some of details that belong to those styles? You might identify with more than one, and that's completely fine. So for example, you might love, let's say, like classic style for its simplicity and clean look. But at the same time, you be drawn to patterns and prints of a preppy style. And that's where it gets interesting, right? Because that mix is the beginning of creating an image and a brand that is very specific for you. Now, I actually created a free guide that walks you through all those different styles, that clothing that belongs to each aesthetics, and ideas on how to incorporate them into your work wardrobe. And I will link it in the description below if you want to grab it, okay? Now, so once that you have looked at those different styles, we need to go a little bit narrower. Like, it's one thing to like a certain aesthetics. It's another thing to clearly identify the specific elements that you can bring into your wardrobe. Prints, patterns, textures, details. These are the things that make your closet feel alive. They give it, personality. They reflect who you are, and they help you differentiate yourself from everyone else. So here's how you're gonna do it, okay? Start with prints. If you love prints, which ones? Florals, polka dots, unstuff, stripes, plaid, abstract prints. If you don't love patterns, that's fine as well, but you want to consciously identify them, okay? Now, next, let's look at color. Are there specific colors you absolutely love? Do you gravitate towards darker tones like black, navy, or brown? Or are there other colors you're naturally drawn to? Now, for example, I personally love white. I have a lot of white in my wardrobe. My nails are white. I just love that color. So what are the colors that you generally love wearing? It might be, 2 or 3 specific colors like the blue or pink, or it might be a palette like, let's say, pastels. Or maybe when you look at your closet, you realize there is one color you wear the most, not because you have to, but because you actually love it. Then we look at details. Now, do you like blouses with bows, tie neck blouses, ruching, lace details, embroidery, eyelet? These are just examples of fashion elements you might love, and different details belong to different style categories. So for example, eyelet and delicate lace might lean towards romantic. Leather and black lace might lean towards edgy and rocker. So beyond identifying which overall styles you align with, you also want to identify the specific fashion elements that speak to you. One way to do this is to look at images, and then the best way is to do it by going to Pinterest. Now, search these elements visually. See what you're naturally drawn to. You might already own pieces with lace details, for example, and love them, but never consciously realize that's why you love them. You can also take a piece of paper, obviously, and write these things down. List the elements you would love to incorporate into your wardrobe. And these are your fashion details, the building blocks of the closet that actually feels like you. Lastly, let's talk about silhouettes. Now, the actual shapes and types of clothing you're drawn to. So, do you like V-neck tops or crew neck tops? If you love blazers, do you prefer single-breasted or double-breasted? When it comes to pants, do you gravitate towards, let's say, tapered styles or wide leg? Do you like skirts? If yes, are they pencil, A-line, pleated? And here's something really, really important. Don't think about your body shape yet. Just focus on what silhouettes you naturally gravitate towards. So for example, I absolutely love button-up shirts. You will find so many of them in my closet. And for years, I kept asking myself, why do I love so many button-up shirts? It's because I just love this silhouette. I reach for it all the time. I feel good wearing it, and it has become a core part of my brand, my aesthetic. So from the silhouettes I just mentioned, which ones do you gravitate towards the most? And again, if you're not sure, you can go to Pinterest, search those silhouettes, visually see what you're drawn to. Maybe you already love them and just never noticed. Maybe you love them but haven't tried them yet. You can also write everything down so you have like that, clear idea of that specific silhouette that feel the most like you. So now, based on everything that we've talked about, let's gather all that information and build a visual representation of your desired image. And I'm going to show you this using my own image as an example. What I love to wear and how that would look like from me. And then what you can do is to take this exact process and apply it to yourself. So I absolutely love classic style, classic silhouettes. That's my foundation. So I would start by pulling maybe like 2-3 images that represent that core style, just as that, visual anchor. Then I also love certain preppy elements. So I would maybe, add maybe like that one image that reflects that influence, okay? Next, let's look at patterns. I absolutely love geometric patterns. Also love classic patterns like polka dots, stripes. When it comes to geometric prints, I'm open to absolutely different variations, so I would include a few images that reflect that direction. When we move to color, as I mentioned before, I absolutely love white. This is my favorite color, so that I naturally gravitate towards. So I'm going to include an image that clearly represents that color direction. I absolutely love leather. So that's one of those textures I consciously incorporate into my wardrobe. I would also add an image that reflects that texture as well. Now, when it comes to silhouettes, I love pleats. I own a lot of pleated skirts, and I also love button-up shirts I mentioned before. So I would visually represent those two. And lastly, I forgot about one thing, the patterns. I would add florals. But not just any florals. I love a modern, smaller, more like the abstract, I would say, take on florals. And I don't like any, those traditional floral prints. I prefer something that's a little bit more refined and contemporary. So I would choose an image that clearly reflects that specific version as well. And when you put all of that together, that becomes that visual representation of my image. That's how my style comes together in a way that feels, cohesive and very specific for me. This is why those 3 steps matter. You have to go through styles, identify the elements, and then define the silhouettes. And when you bring it all together into one very clear direction, as you move into the next stage of your career, you want a precise and specific representation of your image. So it not only aligns with your personality, but also positions you correctly and helps you build a wardrobe that is recognizable, elevated, and consistent. So now you know exactly how to develop your image and style brand. If you want to learn more, I have a free elevated work style guide. I'm going to link it in the description below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when I post a new video, which is every Wednesday. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week.